a minor what? So I was minoritized as soon as I arrived. I learned that I was a millennial, that was a Hispanic, and I had an encounter in a fast food restaurant, and I prepared and practiced for that exchange because I wanted to be perfect. You know, I needed to be understood. So I practiced the day before. How to order this. I get there, and I ordered, may I have some chicken nuggets? And the lady in the counter said, ooh, repeat with me, ooh, you have a heavy accent. She said heavy and did like heavy accent. I looked at her with my literal brain and literal translation at the time, and you know that I'm extra blessed, okay? I looked at her and said, no, you didn't call me fat. That English I knew, okay? And then I said, I don't know what you're hearing, but I don't have an accent. I don't know what you're talking about. I recorded myself, and oh boy, I have a big accent. I do. Now, some people think it's heavy, but some other people think it's sexy, caliente. I don't know. But at that moment, when I was so underrepresented, I realized my mission in life. I said, I'm going to start my career as a recruiter, and I'm going to show people that the Hispanic community is one of the most talented, highly educated, remarkable people in the world, and we need to get them to positions of power. And that's what I'm going to do. And I started my career. So this first thing, please. So this first stop is about the first strategy that you got to embrace. Gather the insights. Sometimes we are facing some challenges and we don't have the data. Now, I need volunteers. I'll need a total of 8 volunteers during the day. My people, you know my people. I'll talk to you. I need your help, okay? So here is the first question that we're going to have, and this quote is kind of the spirit of this presentation. To engage the heart, you must first understand the beat. And there is so much flavor across the culture. We started with the merengue beat, and every music has their own beat. Do you know the beat of the Hispanic community that you have around you? Because the beat will gonna be different. Don't think there is a singular beat. And that's the first part, gather insights. Now, I need 2 volunteers, and I need you to raise your hand and come here because we're gonna play a game. Please come in. Oh, give a round of applause to our volunteers. One side to the other and one side. So we have 2 questions, okay? So here's the deal. From this line here to over there, that's your team, okay? All right, team, give it up for her. Now, from this line right here to that side, that's your team. Give it up. Oh, Lord, this is going to be good. I heard it too. I know. So here's very simple. You're going to see the question, right? And if you think you know the answer, you just tap, okay? Whoever goes first, answer. You can play with the audience, but I need you to just answer. Give me an answer, and then I have a second question, and that's it. You have an opportunity to make 200 points. Whoever makes the most wins this prize. By the way, local artists in Puerto Rico designed this, and they send it exclusively to you all from Calle Pomas Rosas. All right, are we ready? Let's do this. First question. Before launching his musical career, Bad Bunny had a side hustle. What was that? All right. Ooh, I saw you. Okay, what was it? Oh my God.
In a grocery store.
Oh, yes! Give us all a break. Good. Absolutely. That's how he started his career. This is Bad Bunny in Econo. Like I buy my groceries in Econo, okay? That's how he started, back in 2016, folks. So he's very, very new. Now, second question, and this is a more serious question. Which are the top 3 Latin American countries, islands with the largest representation in the United States? Ooh, oh, she ain't playing. Did you see that? I saw it.
Puerto Rico.
Okay.
Mexico.
Yeah.
And Dominican Republic.
Okay, you have the chance. Go for it. Okay. Uh-huh. Oh my gosh, you got it right. Mexico, Puerto Rico, and Cuba. So we have a tie. That's okay. Help yourself with one of the designs and show it to the public when you go. And give them a round of self-applause. Thank you so much. You can take a seat. And that's the whole dynamic that we're going to have today. So I'm going to play and teach, okay? Very simple. Here's the deal. Puerto Rico, Mexico, and Cuba, here are the statistics. When we look at the Hispanic community, Mexicans comprise over 66% of Hispanics in the United States. From Puerto Rico, 9%, and 4% from Cuba. All the other, the remaining percentages are from over 20 different countries. So when you hear the word Hispanic, some people may think, oh, they are all the same. But in fact, my friends, we come from Cuba, Dominican Republic, Venezuela, Colombia, Salvador, Chile, Argentina, España, Brazil, Peru, Ecuador, Paraguay, Bolivia, Costa Rica, and so on. So the diversity and uniqueness of the Hispanic community is so nuanced. Now, in our research, I asked the following question. Now, Bad Bunny is the most streamed artist in the world for 4 years in a row. Like across the world, people are listening to Bad Bunny. He has won all kinds of awards. I will not bore you with all of that. But I asked the following question. How in the world an artist that comes from Puerto Rico that literally bases his work in the Puerto Rican story and narrative and struggles and challenges can literally connect with everyone across the world? How do they do that? So in our research, we found 5 actions, 5 strategies that he's doing. Now, this is relevant for HR folks in recruitment. This is relevant to HR managers, but this is also relevant to the CEO of your company, to the marketing director, to the chief financial officer, to everyone, because literally all individuals in your organization need to know how to manage and how to connect with the Hispanic community. So 5 things that he is doing that I believe can teach us something. Number 1, in his marketing campaigns, in his songs, while he's very specific about the Puerto Rico story, he touches on universal themes like love, heartbreak, struggle, social issues. Struggle is a connector. People connect across cultures through the power of struggle. So how are you using universal messages to connect with your people, particularly in storytelling narratives? Second, musical fusion. So Bad Bunny, many call them as a reggaeton artist, and yeah, he may have started that, but that's a whole conversation about trap, about how he combines and fusion different music styles. Bad Bunny has, of course, Latin trap, but he does pop. We just started the session with merengue. He has done rock and mixes it all to create a new sound. Third, image and authenticity. This is the biggest thing right now. You have an artist that is breaking stereotypes, particularly gender stereotypes. And he is unapologetically Latino worldwide. Like, this is who I am, this is what I got, and I will show up like that. Gen Z is a powerful generation right now. And I use these artists to help my leaders understand what is the generation that is coming their way. So please pay attention to these nuances and think about the new generation. Fourth, cultural celebration. Puerto Rican pride actually inspires Latino audiences across because the struggle. That is the key, the struggle. So that pride and that cultural celebration is key. My question for you, how are you celebrating the Hispanic culture in your organization? Are we waiting for September 15 to October 15? There's nothing wrong with that, but are we just celebrating the culture there? Or do we have a holistic strategy to celebrate the culture all year long? Then lastly, Spanish power. I like to say that Spanish is the language of the heart. Spanish is my first language. And when I'm talking about matters of the heart and I want to connect, Spanish will always be that button, that connection to me. So he has done that unifying language for all Latinos. So when we did our research, these 5 predicaments were at the center of his stardom. What can we learn from this in our HR strategies, in our recruitment, in our marketing, in our relationships overall? There are a few other things that I need you to know. And here's a best practice. This is my friends at UNC Health. And they're facing some challenges connecting, engaging, promoting the Hispanic community. So they connected us and said, Joey, we want to focus on the Hispanic community. So for 2 days, they brought together over 50 individuals from across the hospital, from nurses to doctors to executives, administrators, and together we developed an exclusive plan on how to engage with the Hispanic community, the Hispanic employees, and the Hispanic workforce. How do we bring all of them together? And we develop a strategic plan for that. That is a best practice I believe every organization needs to adopt in some way, shape, or form. If you don't have a Hispanic strategy, you don't have a growth strategy. Let that sink for a minute. So this is what we did with them, which I thought was so good. We completed an exercise that we call the empathy mapping for the Hispanic experience. And all of us together in a room with 50 people did what we call an empathy exercise. We had 3 personas. We had a patient, an employee, and a community member, each one with a story. And everyone in the room was responsible to play that role. And we asked them, what do you think and feel? Like, what might be this persona be thinking and feeling about their healthcare experience? You can change that to your industry. But we wanted to see, what are they seeing? What are they hearing? What are they saying? And what are they doing? That was a transformational exercise. And by the way, there were only 2 Latinos in the room. So you could hear the conversations talking about the challenges, and we created an empathy mapping exercise that increased awareness exponentially. You can apply this to your organization right away when you come back, all right? So here is a quote from Bad Bunny. There are people who listen to reggaeton and love it, and at the same time, they're never felt represented within it. In 20 or 30 years, nobody had worried about that, but I did. As we are gathering information, we are gathering understanding, particularly for voices and personas that have been historically excluded. So here is your Beyond the Beat challenge from our research. There are 2 things that I'm recommending to do and 2 questions. Representation. What are the top 3 Hispanic nationalities represented in the communities you serve? I'm very curious. I want you to go deeper, not just Hispanic, that's too general. I want to know who is most represented in your community. For example, if you are in the Washington, D.C. area, the Salvadorian community is the top there. If you are in Texas, that will change. If you are in New York, that will change. Florida, the same. Who are the top 3 nationalities? And how can that drive your approaches with your people and with your strategies? And lastly, experience. I am so curious. What's the experience of your Hispanic community, your Hispanic employees, your Hispanic workforce? What's the experience? Can you document that? Do you have a way to measure that? If you do these 2 things, you will start accelerating and elevating your Hispanic experience, all right? And this comes from the research and the interviews that we did. All right, that is part number 1. Are you ready for part number 2? All right, let's do this. I need 2 more volunteers. 2 more volunteers. 1, come. The other one, come. Yeah. All right, come over. Give them a round of applause, please. Very good, good. Hopefully you are learning as we are doing. I'm sharing a lot here, okay? Now, we are in the letter A, adopt approaches. So as you gather information and you start learning more, if you do nothing, that's not good. You need to start adapting and making some shifts. So here's the first question for you. Bad Bunny's catchy stage name is anything but subtle. But what is his much less well-known real name? That's hard, I know. You have 2 seconds to figure it out. Okay, Raul. Benito. Oh, yep. Benito Antonio Martinez Ocasio. For a minute, I thought to myself, well, I want you to say the whole name, but that's a lot. That's like, my real name is Miguel José Aviles Perez. That's, Joey for short. Let's keep it simple. All right, so second question, and this is more serious. Are you ready for this? Which statement is correct? Letter A, the vast majority of Hispanics in the U.S. are immigrants. Letter B, 37% of Hispanics in the U.S. are immigrants. Or letter C, over 70% of Hispanics living in the U.S. are undocumented. Are you scared of the thing? You're just like, let me see. You're hilarious. I love you. That's so good. Now, let me see. Okay, you go first, Raul.
I don't know if all of those statements are accurate, but I'm going to lean with D.
Oh, yeah, you are correct. Round of applause. 37% of Hispanics in the U.S. are immigrants. You are the winner of this. Please help yourself, but you too. Please help yourself. All right. All right, here's the answer. 37% of U.S. Hispanics are immigrants. That's 37%. Yet, when you look at the media and belief and stereotype is that the vast majority of Hispanics are undocumented immigrants. You follow me? That is the belief, but in reality, only 37% of Hispanics are immigrants and only 13% are considered undocumented. We are over 64 million people, yet that stereotype is at the center of management and occupations. So why is this important? Since the 2000s, over 50% of Hispanics workers are U.S. born. That's a huge number. So how is that represented in our policies and regulations and approaches? Particularly if you're working in factories, in different environments that are more frontline type of occupations, how those stereotypes may be hindering your HR Hispanic strategy. Now, second thing is, when we look at the Hispanic numbers, generations matter. And here, I'm not talking just about millennial, Gen Z, baby boomers. That's important too. The type of generation I'm talking here is about first, second, and third generation. Some people think, oh, I have my cultural competence and cultural intelligence about the Mexican community. Well, I have news for you. It gets more complicated when you add the nuance of first, second, and third generation. Here's what the Pew Research Center tells us. The first generation that moves to the United States, they do prefer to speak Spanish. That is their first language. But as we start shifting to the second generation, 40% are actually bilingual. And then when you get to the third generation on, is English. This is very important for us to understand this nuance because often when I'm working with CEOs, the first cultural challenge that comes to equation, oh, the language is the problem. There is a cultural barrier there. And I honor that cultural barrier because it's real in certain environments, but it's much more than that when we look at generational power. The second challenge, Joey, do we need to translate everything in our work? It depends. Who are you trying to reach? First, second, third generation. What is your market? Who are you going after? So generations matter. And here's another reason of why. Did you know that 1 in 4 Gen Zers is Hispanic? Look at these fantastic numbers. 25% of Hispanics in the Gen Z cohort is when you are generationally paying attention, the Hispanic population is at the top. When we look at the millennial generation is one in three as well. So when I look at the millennial and Gen Z, this is the best way I can define it. They are a rising superpower, and their personal mission is to show up and be on the spotlight. When we look at other generations, they're like, listen, I'll put my head down, do my work, and that's it. That's not what we're seeing on the current generation. There is a lot of pride. There is a lot like I'm taking the lead, not just following anymore. And I'm excited about that stage, particularly as we're working with global brands. They're using Hispanic talent to drive masses. Yet, some organizations don't even pay much attention to the community at all, strategically. So here are a few things for your consideration. They're the fastest growing group within Gen Z. They're disruptors, strong family roots, and other important things. Generations matter. When we look at the Bad Bunny phenomena, there is a refusal to cater to the mainstream. Like he is refusing. If you were watching the news, he was just in Paris in Vogue, killing it like yesterday. So he's literally worldwide. Is he singing in English? He is talking in Spanish, interviews in Spanish. And he can speak the language, but he is choosing a stance of honoring his language. That is a big deal in our country nowadays. Big deal. All right? And here is an issue that happened in the Grammys. Like he was nominated for a few awards and he's doing his thing. And the captions, look at the captions when he was coming to speaking non-English, singing in non-English. That was a big moment in the culture. And here is what Time had to say about this. Where other musicians reaching for his level of stardom have hidden certain parts of themselves, Benito has refused to compromise on the language he sings in, the political stances he assumes, the dresses and nail polish he wears. So he's having a political stance. So when we take this step, my friend, in our second approach is we must adapt the way we do business after we gather the information and understanding. So I have a best practice. Ferrara is actually based here in Chicago, and they're a client of mine. You are familiar with all these candies. Like, they are leading the market right now. And they are adopting their approach depending the demographic. So they're using their business research groups to connect with specific brands. This is led by numbers and data, and they're literally connecting the business to the diversity of their community and the diversity of their employees. So they're adopting their approaches. I have a second best practice. Facebook is also doing something really cool, and they brought together the Latino employees, look at all those, the team, by creating the Latino Community Summit. So what I'm seeing across my clients, they are creating exclusive experiences for the community. Rather than having them as a second thought, they're creating ecosystems that cater to the specific needs of the Hispanic Latino community. How are you adopting your strategy and approaches to better serve the Hispanic community? And how can that help the bottom line? I'm big in the bottom line and connecting to the business and our mission. So how are we adapting our approaches? So here's the Beyond the Beat challenge funded in our research. It's time that we prioritize the Hispanic experience in DEI initiatives. I'm a former chief of D&I, so I know how complicated at times. But I'll tell you, across the industry, I am not seeing a focus on the Hispanic community at all. So that's the second superpower and big challenge. Don't let the Hispanic experience get lost in general DEI strategies. We got to tailor. And here's the question. How can you ensure your Hispanic experience is not being watered down? But as we move along, the questions are really hard, okay? So thank you for being here, and thank you for your service, okay? So here comes the question on nurture culture. So follow me. After you gather insights, after you adapt your approaches, then we get to letter N. And letter N is about nurturing the culture. It's about taking care of it. So that's where we're going. Here's the third question. What event from his childhood inspired Bad Bunny's stage name according to the artist himself? Oh my God, I didn't see. Who did it first? You did? Okay. I trust you, Tina. Oh. That is absolutely true, yes. Look at this picture. That's Bad Bunny on a kid, and he was not very happy about this thing. Like, he was with the Bad Bunny costumes, and it followed him to stardom, okay? That's the genesis of his name. All right, a more serious question. Hispanics are the fastest growing ethnic minority group in the United States. Is this true or false? All right, Debbie. I'm sorry, Debbie. It's actually false. And I'm going to explain why. According to the Census Bureau, Asians remain the fastest growing racial group in the United States. It's a tricky question, Debbie. I'm so sorry. But you can help yourself. Help yourself with things there. Round of applause. All right. So here's the reality, my friends. Hispanics are the largest minority, but no longer the fastest growing minority. Okay, that's the difference. It's a game, folks. It's a game. So if I ask you, as we nurture the culture, I have a question for you. When you think about Hispanic core values, what comes to mind? Start yelling. Family, what else? Pride. Friendship, religion, passion, what else? Friendship, what else? Wow, that's a lot. Let me tell you, this is exactly what you said. Faith, fe, familia, amigos, superación, self-improvement, educación, and hard work, echarle ganas. These are the top core values across the community. I often get asked, Joey, we need to find a way to connect with the community. How do we do it? My first answer is connect through the power of values. And these are critical across our community. My question for you is, bring to mind your core values in your organization. Many of us have them printed in our website, and we talk about them. How do those core values connect with the Hispanic core values? I love doing this exercise. And in my experience, role. And then there is a fourth thing, marketing. His marketing is brilliant, folks. Like, it's remarkable. Everything he does has a marketing connection. And guess what? His entire team is connected to his life. So he's working with high school folks that study with him, but he's surrounded by people he trusts and people that do marketing brilliantly. Here is a particular example that I have for you all. When he went to the Tonight Show, at his beginning, this is what he wore. Now, you may think, well, okay, he's in a skirt and he looks all of that, but when you look at the words, Puerto Rico was impacted by the murder of a transgender woman. She was assassinated. And he went on national television in the United States to voice the struggle of the transgender community by saying, mataron Alexa, they killed Alexa. That story captivated the Puerto Rican news. It's a horrendous story. He used this story and brought popular culture, social activism, marketing, while redefining masculinity. All of that connected is what kept making him go to the top, historically. I was mesmerized by these findings when we went deep and studied them. And what is it that we can learn in our role? I want people to remember me as someone genuine, someone with a big heart, for being myself. That's what leaving your mark is about, doing something that represents who you really are. And this connects me to the concept of belonging in our workplaces. How is your people belonging to the organization? But more importantly, are they even belonging to themselves, of who they are, of their genius, their untapped potentials? How are they doing there? So that is nurture culture. Now, I have an example for you all, and I like to call this example and GM Empowering Hispanic Hustlers. This is Marie T. Barra, one of the few Hispanic CEOs and probably one of the only Latina CEOs, highly successful. And she talks about the importance of her career and having people believing and sponsoring her as a former engineer up to becoming the CEO. This is what GM is doing. It's a holistic ecosystem. They're supporting Hispanic organizations in the field tremendously. They have a strategy for employee resource groups. They're partnering with STEM education and scholarships as early as elementary school. They're putting millions behind the Hispanic strategy. They have active recruitment, and they're strongly supporting Hispanic entrepreneurs. Like, look at this strategy. This is highly comprehensive. And you see Hispanics are a large representation of their frontline workers as well. But they have a whole ecosystem here that is not an afterthought, but the spotlight of their strategy. Here's the beyond the challenge for you. Leverage representation. How are you leveraging your current Hispanic representation in your company? Often we're struggling. How do we find them? How do we recruit more? I'm shifting the paradigm for a second here. How are you taking care of the Hispanic folks that you have right now? And how are you advancing them in their careers? So I'm encouraging to focus on accelerating your current leadership representation so you build a pipeline in the future. That's your Beyond the Beat challenge. We have one more, and I cannot believe that we only have 6 minutes left. So 2 volunteers, run this way, run, come on, yes, come on, run. Woo. Like, let's do a round of applause. Ooh, this has been fast and furious, my friends. Okay, this is for 800 points, and let me tell you, I have a big award for you all. This is exclusively designed for you. This is Puerto Rican heart with some of the top things of our culture. Whoever wins this one will get this, okay? And then the other one, there's some things left, okay? All right, Bad Bunny is a hugely successful musician, but he's also dipped his toes into acting. Name a series or a movies where you could catch him on screen. All right, go ahead. Marcos, yes, round of applause, yep. He's an actor and a wrestler. He has been all over the place. And here is the popular culture thing. Whatever he does goes ballistic. Like it goes up, oversells, sold out. WWE or F, oh my gosh, what is it? E, is breaking all kind of records. It's fascinating. Very similar to the Taylor Swift type of phenomena. All right, the next question is very hard. Are you ready for it? All right. What term is preferred by members of the Hispanic community? Hispanic, Latino, Latina, Latinx, Latine, or country of origin? You thought about it, man. All right, Glenn.
I would say Latinx.
Latinx? Okay. What do you think?
I would say country of origin.
Oh my goodness, we have a tie here. I don't know how am I going to break this. I'm gonna drop this right here. You help yourself and round of applause. Give yourself a round of applause. Take more. Take another one. All right, I'll explain, yes. Oh, absolutely, yes. Those are stickers, by the way, to put it on your Yeti or your stand, what is it? That thing, fancy thing, yes. So here is the kicker, and this is very nuanced, but when we look at the data, Hispanics refers to the language spoken. So Hispanic terms include people from Spain, okay? But excludes people from Brazil. Big exclusion, okay? Now, Latino includes people from Brazil, but excludes people from Spain. Latino is an outcry. And if you look at the history, you look at the colonialism that Spain did across Latin America. So the Latino term is like, I'm Latino, I'm here to stay. But we live in new times. We have terms like Latinx and Latine that are gender neutral and non-binary. Now, there is a challenge here. The Hispanic community, only 3% of them are aware of the Latinx term. Okay, so they're not using it. So the LGBTQAI+ in the Hispanic community, they said, we're gonna create our own term, and that's where Latine comes across. Latinx cannot be pronounced in the Spanish language. So they created the concept of Latine. So when we look at the data, 53% of Hispanics prefer to identify with their exact country of origin. So if you ask me, who are you, where are you from? I'm not gonna say, yeah, I'm Hispanic. No, I'm Puerto Rican, Boricua. That connects with the heart. So closing with Bad Bunny here, when we did our research and look at all the data and videos, it was a fabulous story about his dancing team. His dancing team has traveled the world with him, and when you look at the stories of them, you can see the true concept of belonging. His dancers get standing ovations minutes long. Let's watch two quick stories.
Pues en octubre me llega este mensaje de la nada, me dice audición, buscando todos los estereotipos. Llega tal día, ropa negra, abierto a todo. Yo dije, pues ya este es mi momento.
Es que era de fucking R.
Pero nadie sabía que era para eso, porque en ese mensaje no decía ni para qué artista ni para nada de estilo. Pero pues yo ya con eso yo dije, wow, una
This is
artista.
Miss Aviles, and is very short. So she went to prestigious schools to dance and kept being rejected by every artist until Bad Bunny. He brought her to the team, and she is killing it. Now check out this story. This is crushing the chubby stereotype in the dancing community. Look at that, with over 30,000 people in the audience, and he is killing it. So he is breaking stereotypes in the sense of bringing people that are often ignored. So he's embracing true belonging in the stage. Here's the last challenge for you, and I want you to please bring your phones out. Take your phones out because I'm gonna give you a gift. So here, the Beyond the Beat challenge is to prioritize professional development and honor global educations. Our research showed that people immigrating from different countries, many of them are doctors, many of them are engineers, but our policies and regulations do not allow them to practice in our country. So there's a whole strategy of translating those certifications. Now, I have a big gift for you. This is the Ghana Mass Framework, and today we are launching the Elevating the Hispanic Experience research. Over 40 pages of powerful content that will give you insights. You scan that, and you will answer a few questions, and the next screen, you will just place the code SHRM, and give me some feedback, give me some love. I'll let you scan it so I can close it and let you go. It's 8:30 already, and here is who I dedicate this presentation from. In the spirit of our work together, my call to action is, how are you engaging the Hispanic community as you go back home? And from what you learned today, can you apply? And here's my why. As I started my career here in the left, I didn't know how to speak the language fluently, but I had a mentor that saw potential in me. She spent quality time in me, believed in me, and thanks to her, I was able to become a senior executive by 30 years old because someone believed in me. We have the story of Bad Bunny, which we studied today, from a grocery store to stardom. But let me tell you what story touches my heart the most. Teddy, who is coming after us. He's just starting, my friends. So when I say, please pay attention to the Hispanic community on your strategies, I'm thinking about my Teddy 10, 15, 20 years from now when he enters the workforce. Thank you very much for your time. It's been a pleasure. Have fun, and thank you so much. Thank you. Have a great conference, and I'll see you very soon. And please connect with me, and here's the research, and see you soon. Say hello.